You turn on your faucet, you expect clean water. But for tens of thousands of South Florida residents, there's a growing threat to the quality of their drinking water. It's a problem that's often out of sight, out of mind. But Contact 5 investigator Dan Kraut has spent the past few months bringing this threat to the surface to show how it affects you. He joins us tonight with more on what he found. Dan?
Kelly, gas storage tanks, as you can see right here, are huge, and they're installed right into the ground. That's where we get our drinking water from. So when there's a leak, it's a big problem, and there are a lot of them. Inspectors say they're working to protect you on your dime. But as the Contact 5 investigators discovered, you may not be getting exactly what you're paying for.
Anna Elkins and her family cook with their well water.
It always smells.
Water the lawn with it. Even brushed their teeth with it.
It's like a metal smell to it. This is just nasty.
But she had no idea an underground gas spill at a nearby business back in 2010 could have threatened the quality of her well water.
I'm shocked because I think that I need to know. I think it's my right to know.
And she's not alone. Florida has more fuel cleanup sites than any other state in the country. State records show there are more than 1,200 sites in our area alone. Dave Gibson is in charge of cleaning up most of those sites.
There are so many of them that the state just doesn't have the funding to clean them all up all at the same time.
So the state moved more than 250 cases, including a site near Anna's Lake Park home, to the top of the cleanup list because the fuel spilled too close to the drinking water supply.
They've targeted the ones that are considered the most imminent threat.
Just because a spill doesn't happen on your property doesn't mean you can't be affected. The contamination can spread. As you can see, that's why the state tests the public and private drinking wells in a half-mile radius around each of the sites.
And get this.
You probably don't know you're paying at the pump for the state to spot those leaks and to help clean them up. We took a closer look at the numbers. Every time you fill up, you're getting charged an extra 4 cents a gallon for the program. That's about $1 every time you fill up your tank, and the numbers add up. The state collects close to $200 million from the tax every year.
So what am I paying for?
We uncovered what you're paying for, workers to inspect the underground tanks.
You got this is broke, see that?
To spot leaks before they threaten your water.
The system's not perfect and things start to leak eventually, and it doesn't take any time at all for the gasoline to get into the groundwater.
But over the past 5 years, 45 inspectors have been cut, plus another 50 cleanup workers.
Contaminations are going to go on the rise.
Remember, the state already has more contaminated sites than any other state. Plus, they used to inspect every tank once a year. Patrick Willey, the head of inspections for most of our area, says most tanks are now inspected once every 2 years.
With fewer inspectors, does that mean more contamination could go unnoticed in our area?
There's a potential, yes, that spills could go longer without being detected.
The longer it takes to spot a spill, the bigger the threat.
We could be there for decades. The longer it sits, the harder it is to clean up.
State lawmakers set up the system back in the 80s. We went to Tallahassee to find out where your money's going today.
Well, we were required to face a budget cut.
Robert Brown, the state's program director, says he had no choice but to cut staff after lawmakers cut his budget.
We are doing more inspections with less staff, or trying to maintain the same level with less.
Just this year alone, $8 million of your gas tax money was taken from the program and used to help balance the state's dwindling budget.
The one up there.
As for Anna, the state installed a filter on her well after the spill and never tested again. They believe the gasoline hasn't spread.
How do they know the filter's working?
We're talking about public safety here. Why aren't everyone's wells tested on a regular basis?
If their resources were available to do that, I would say more power to you. We don't have the resources to do that.
Right now, I'm really scared. I don't feel safe.
We worked with a lab to have Anna's water tested for her. Luckily, results show no harmful chemicals were in her drinking water supply. But the state has hooked some people up to city water after finding chemicals in the well water. That's what happened to people who live near this now torn down gas station in Lantana after a spill back in 2008. Now, if you'd like to find out if you live near one of these sites, we have put together this interactive map here on our website. You can find this under the investigative tab at WPTV.com. You can click on any one of those red dots, find out where they're located, when the spill took place, and what the status is of the cleanup. Dan Crowell, WPTV, News Channel 5.